Welcome into another episode of Main Street Living. I'm Danielle Alvari, and I'm lucky enough to be joined by Tom Gregory for back-to-back episodes. Bring him back.
Hello, Danielle. I don't know if it's good luck or bad luck or no luck at all. That's what they say, and I have no idea what that means. But I'm glad to be back with you.
Yeah.
And we have a jam-packed Main Street Living with so many important things to discuss. Later on, we'll talk to a doctor from Santa Barbara County Sexual Health, who has a vital message regarding their work to provide comprehensive services to the region through educational awareness and access.
We'll also take a peek at an exciting exhibit at the Discovery Children's Museum in Southern Nevada. Local car dealerships have partnered with the museum to create an engaging space where kids can use their STEM knowledge to design and build mini vehicle prototypes and see how they perform on custom tracks. Tom, I know you're the host of Driven here on Your View, and you are very much a car guy. I think this one is for the kids, though.
You had me at mini. You really had me at mini. I would have loved to have something like this when I was a kid. You know, they're learning, but they're having fun. And hopefully it drives a whole new generation of car lovers. See what I did there? Drives. But they're really getting an early start. And who knows what kind of designs these kids are going to come up with in the future. It's a great program.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true. And I don't think all the kids will be that concerned about the safety of their prototypes at the museum, but we certainly are on Main Street. And that's especially true with one of the most dangerous holidays of the year upon us. So to talk more about this, we're going to bring in Christian Oliver, who is a managing attorney from the Barnes firm in San Diego, California. Christian, thank you for joining us again on Main Street Living. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on.
Of course. So I mentioned one of the most dangerous holidays. We're, of course, talking about Halloween is upon us. So first question, what makes this one of the most dangerous nights for children and pedestrians?
Not to be the Grim Reaper here, but it is in fact the deadliest night for children when it comes to pedestrian deaths. There are more pedestrian children fatalities on Halloween night than any other night of the year. There's a number of factors that contribute to that. Number one, there's more children on the streets, obviously, trick-or-treating, and it's dark. There are leaves all over that contribute to cars being parked further into the street than they would otherwise be. And it's unfortunate, but most of these fatalities are actually happening in neighborhoods mid-block. And that's because drivers don't anticipate someone darting out. And unfortunately, every year it happens, and it's very tragic.
That's an unbelievable statistic, Christian, just unbelievable. But when we think of Halloween, we think about the little kids, and they're out there, but there's also plenty of older kids out. Is it just the little ones, or does the evening pose a threat to teens as well?
Yeah, so I have an 8 and 10-year-old, and obviously when they're younger, you're most worried about them. But statistically, people or kids aged 12 to 15 account for the most fatalities of the children. So it's actually the older kids that are unfortunately dying on Halloween night. And it's because they're running around, chasing their friends. They're faster. They're up a little later when other trick-or-treaters might be gone. So drivers assume it's safe when it's not. So everyone needs to be vigilant, including those preteens and teens.
Yes, that's the age where we have young drivers and drivers who think they're invincible. We've all been there. So extra safety there. But I think this is just very scary for every parent. What can parents do to prepare for the night and help keep their children safe?
Sure. Obviously, you want your kids to go out, have fun. If you have any discretion, choose streets that are more well lit. So if there's 3 streets around you, choose the one where there's the most lighting. If your kids are wearing masks, make sure that the masks fit appropriately, and, adjust the eye holes so that they're a little bigger if necessary, so the kids have peripheral vision. And put some reflective tape. Obviously, the kids aren't going to want you to mess up their costumes, which they put a lot of time in, or you put a lot of time in making. So put the reflective tape on their bag that they collect the candy in, or on the pumpkin or whatever, or a blinking light, just something to draw attention to themselves. And lastly, just reinforce some common sense tips to your kids. Remind them that it's not whether they see the car, it's whether the car sees them. And to just try to stay on one side of the block get to the corner and then cross and then do the other side versus this zigzagging around and, you know, running to whoever has the full sized candy bars that the rumors got about. So just common sense tips.
But it's not all on the kids that are out trick-or-treating. What can drivers do to do their part to keep these trick-or-treaters safe? What steps do you think they can take?
Yeah. So number one, slow down. It's the biggest thing any of us can do. You know, it's one night a year. It's a wonderful celebration of mayhem and trickery and candy. So give the kids their space, give the kids their time, and drive defensively, meaning assume that someone's going to jump out between a couple of cars. Assume they're not going to see you, even if you see them. And just be cautious, be courteous, and let every kid go home to their parents that night safely.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because having that background in local news, I've heard news stories on these as well. And I remember a stat stuck in my head that they said that anything over 30 miles per hour could be fatal for someone. Obviously, less than could as well, but that's really where it jumps. And I know as a lawyer, you're probably very concerned with those stats as well. So it's so much slower than you think that can actually be really fatal for people. So just slow down is such great advice. Any additional thoughts on what else can be done?
You know, sometimes it's the little things that can add up. When you're driving, it's dark when it's Halloween. So when you're driving around, make sure that your dashboard illumination is turned down and dimmed. Make sure that your windshield is cleaned so you don't have anything on the windshield that can obscure your view. You know, make sure your car's in good working order so that you don't have any brake failures. I mean, it's just little common sense tips. But you never know what could be the difference between saving someone's life or causing the death of someone. So not to be morbid, but it is Halloween, so I'll end on that Grim Reaper note.
Should we end on a happy note? What's the favorite Halloween candy? What's the favorite Halloween candy? This is very important. It's going to tell me a lot about
Who
you.
gets to answer this question?
You do. What's your favorite candy in the house?
Butterfinger.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of a dark horse. I like that. All right.
No, it's got to be the snack size. A full size Butterfinger might be a little much.
Yes, that's such an adult answer.
Yeah,
That's
maybe Payday
answer.
if it was a full size candy bar.
We take the minis now. Well, thank you so much for coming and talking to us about safety. Certainly a very important topic on Main Street and hopefully at the forefront of everyone's mind when it comes to what should be one of the funnest nights of the year. Christian Oliver from the Barnes Firm, thanks for joining us.
Great tips right there. Up next, we'll look at the Discovery Children's Museum and the really cool car design exhibit they've unveiled after partnering with a Las Vegas car dealer. Don't go anywhere. We have much more on Main Street Living.